So Square Enix just released or almost feels like a shadow drop of the demo version of Visions of Mana. There's been plenty of talk regarding on how good this JRPG would actually be, and overall I do have very high hopes for this game. But Square Enix definitely is trying to bring the Mana game to the Mana series, so to speak, to a lot of new eyes, and even try to bring back some of their seasoned players who used to play it a long time ago, especially when they released Trials of Mana, the remake, all the way back in 2020. Now, this demo today is absolutely massive with a bunch of side quests and the open world bits, and as well as the multiple zones that you can practically explore. And of course, some of the zones you won't be ready for level wise, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But this is Square Enix's latest JRPG, Visions of Mana, the overall continuation, the fifth mainline title of the Mana series over the past 30 years. And it is an action-based JRPG that is, with some open world elements. It didn't seem like it's a super massive open world game. It just seemed like it had definitely some key point of elements. Like it's a pretty massive map, but doesn't feel like it's going to be super in-depth with most open world RPGs. So a lot of hype is definitely surrounding by this game, and hopefully with this demo it can actually overall show Square Enix that people want Mana games. And in today's episode I will actually want to talk about the demo and give an overall review of what's to come, and possibly talk about the future of the Mana series as a whole. So one thing that I noticed during the overall demo was that this game is visually an absolute improvement from Trials of Mana's graphics. Now, when you look at Trials of Mana and you look at Visions of Mana, there's definitely some heavy improvements from the lighting and the shading, the overall super vibrant colors. I do love both games visually, but I can definitely see the improvements across the board. But with how visually stunning this game actually is, it does have some heavy pain points for me and from what it seems like a lot of other people. There are quite some laggy, choppy moments in the cutscenes. There are also light stuttering as well during the elemental puzzle platforming bits. Very early on in the demo, you come across this glacier where you have to just jump on, and then for some reason the elemental vessel that allow you to do so, it just had super bright white lights. It just seemed so it hurt my eyes. My eyes are a bit sensitive to lights, and I was like, oh. But also I also ran into some OBS problems as well trying to record this actual game, and my god, it was an absolute nightmare. I literally tried to stream this game at least a good 7 or so times on YouTube so we could talk about it together as a community, and just I couldn't even stream. I think I'll probably get maybe 2 minutes of a stream before OBS crashed, it was hard for me to even record overall gameplay. So I think optimization wise with this demo, that I think it's not really optimized for broadcasting, streaming, or anything of that nature. I was able to get the gameplay that you're currently seeing on screen thanks to NVIDIA's Shadow Play, was just using NVIDIA's very own recording software to see if I can record a gameplay from there, and I was able to. So for some reason, OBS and Visions of Mana just was not having a good time with each other. Now, of course, what makes a good JRPG? The music, the soundtrack. Definitely was very loud, so I actually had to turn that down. But overall, the music was very beautiful, very elegant. I feel like a lot of these JRPGs that have really mastered soundtrack and trying to put players into the overall mood of the given area that they're located in. Now, to go along with that soundtrack, I actually want to talk a little bit about the voice acting. Now, the voice acting is pretty decent, not something super outstanding, but it is still good. I love that Karina, which she sounds like a southern girl to me for her English dub. I could be wrong, but that's just what I was hearing. I found it cute and amusing. Now, each character does have some form of personality. There's not a lot to show in the overall demo to really fully flesh it out, but it is why I actually want to wait to the full game so I can really see these characters grow to get to their final point by the time of the end of the game. Now, that was pretty much what you would expect in this demo visually. Any of the technical performance I ran into, a little bit about the voice acting, that's what you expect just from first impressions. But then let's actually dig into the gameplay. So in the demo we get a taste of many things. Like I said, we get a taste of the story, combat, exploration, and even the platforming. The story so far is essentially you are making a pilgrimage to the Tree of Mana with the Fire, Wind, and Moon alms, which are essentially chosen people who needs to make a pilgrimage to the Tree of Mana to be able to save the world. Now, one thing that I have, it's been a minute before you crucify me, before y'all crucify me out there, it's been a minute since I actually touched most of the mana games, but I will say this, if I'm not mistaken, each mana game is its very own story while sharing the same universe. So kind of like how Final Fantasy is. Final Fantasy is just that same type of game or franchise where there's multiple of the game, but they all do not connect to each other or anything of that nature. They just have the same universe, and each installment is its own story. And this time around, we are following the Visions of Mana story, where we have Val, which is our soul guardian, and he's trying to make sure that, and I forgot her name, but make sure that this lady who needs to go to the Tree of Mana, make sure she gets there safely, and as well as he has accompanying him the other, like the Moon and the Serena, and as well as Morley, which they are also alms of the given elementals to make sure they make the pilgrimage as well. Now, combat is overall fun. I'm comparing this to Trials of Mana, like I said, because with both of these games being the more up to date, essentially, that'll be a fair comparison. The combat is overall fun. I love the swapping to and from like the characters in the party, and I like that getting out a nice little slow-mo in between. But the combat gets a little bit, I wouldn't say convoluted, it's not super deep, but it definitely takes, like, they drop a lot of information on you to definitely like read through. Each character has 3 specific weapon types to them and the elemental vessels to go along with them. The elemental vessels is this game way of adding affinities to each character, since each character is some form of a class. So Val, his elemental vessel is the power of wind, which would allow him to do wind specific attacks and wind like ultimates, so on and so forth. So you can actually equip everybody, and you can kind of like vice versa see who works better with what vessel. Now, I did love just trying out different combos and just playing around with the vessels, like seeing Morley and swapping his and buying new abilities, and just overall just seeing what I can do in this demo. And I can already kind of get a gist that that's going to be fun to as you level up and you get further into the game, and you can actually like try out different combos as you get like to later. Like I said, they probably just jumped us into like a little bit just to give us a general, just to get us a taste, right? A little taste on what's to come. So that's something I actually didn't really like in the demo. You can also improve each character's class to help improve their elemental damage. Now, like I said, each character is technically a class in this game. So Val would be more like your tank or guardian type of role. Morley would be more of your DPS, your rogue in a sense. Serena would be more of your mage healer type deal, right? So seeing those, you can actually further improve each of their character classes and their elemental affinities further through the skill tree that's in the homepage. But there are also, like I was saying earlier, like this is an elemental based game. So there are 8 types of elemental damage that monsters can be either weak, resistant, or immune to, as well as each character can do a slashing or as well as striking damage. So that opens up more options for us to be able to really hone in on the combat and really spice up the combat. Like I said, it's not the most groundbreaking. It's not no Final Fantasy VII remake type of gameplay. Like, it ain't nothing groundbreaking. But overall, I can see the direction that the Mana series is trying to go. And I can see where Square Enix is trying to position this. And it's definitely something to open up the eyes for new players who have never played a Mana game. And this would probably be it's a little bit more overwhelming in a sense, but not overwhelming, where people can actually just hop in and just overall just play the game, especially if you never touched a JRPG. This might be your very first time. So it's a lot to keep you hooked in, but still got that intricacies, that convolutedness that sometimes the JRPGs, like, where there's just so much information is just thrown at you and then you're just left to your own devices. But with that, every time you deal damage, your character gains up on a meter of their CS meter, which is their class strike. Basically using their class specific ultimate ability to be able to do a nice badass ultimate attack, which has a cool animation that goes with it. And I actually thought that was pretty cool to see something like that. But also, since the game is also open world, to also help overall with people who have struggles with open world games, we have mounts. And of course, the game is very very prominent when it showcased our new wolves, which they call them Peekles, if I'm not mistaken. And you can call upon them at any point in time. You can ride them. They have no stamina bar. That's pretty cool too. Like having mounts with no stamina bar, I mean, I could hit dash and just zip and zoom past the map, no problem. But towards the end of the demo overall, we do get a nice boss battle. So boss battles are that we get the Kraken boss fight, which was showcased in the demo trailer as well. That entire fight was highly engaging, really needed the use of the vessels to really dwindle down the health of the Kraken, encouraging me to actually try to maximize the damage between my party. But overall, my final verdict on this preview, the demo essentially, this game has potential. It's gonna go great. I feel like this is a better step in a better direction, right? Square Enix has really been pushing out a lot of games heavy in this year, last year, and I think this was a perfect time to finally bring back the Mana series, especially after the Trials of Mana remake. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Trials of Mana remake is a remake of the Secret of Mana. I think it was a third trilogy. I cannot remember the name right now, but overall, it is definitely a step in a better direction. Combat has definitely improved, and I actually enjoyed Trials of Mana's combat, and I feel like they have further improved upon that. The story, I definitely can't wait to see how it goes. Of course, that little snippet is pretty much a general synopsis of a Mana game. You are going to the Tree of Mana. You're trying to make a pilgrimage to the Tree of Mana. Depending on which Secret of Mana game you come across, it's always going to revolve around the Tree of Mana. So that's a quick synopsis, but I can't wait to see how the actual characters in the cast get along with each other. They build that relationship over time on these many adventures, and I can't wait to see how that end of the game is going to look. Overall, I do want to say a couple cons. Like I said earlier in the video, I need them to fix optimization, the stuttering, the lagging, all of that stuff. Like, it wasn't nothing groundbreaking, but I know when it comes to a lot of creators such as myself who actually want to record and live stream this stuff, and I'm running into problems, and I talked to a couple of my other YouTuber friends who also was running into very similar problems. So I don't know if that's a optimization part, but I'm just gonna spread my voice out. Hopefully, you know, Square Enix, if you see this, just know I'm looking out for y'all. I want this game to succeed. I want it to prosper. I want it to do amazing things. I enjoy that these JRPGs are having remakes, and even these HD 2D remasters, these big high quality remakes, and especially now that they're trying to focus on AA games or even A games specifically, and not really try to put their entire budget into those AAAs, they can start really honing in all that extra bit of money, that extra bit of cash, the little cheese, put it into like fixing their main games or adding new IPs. I would like to see a new Square Enix game that has no affiliation with any other game other than that. But I want to know what you guys think about Visions of Mana. Have you played the demo? Just know the game is releasing August 29th, and literally not even a month from today, or not even a couple weeks from today's video that you'll be seeing this. So I want to know what you guys thoughts about it. What did you think? If you felt like you had a couple problems with the combat, I'll like to talk to you guys about it in the comment section below. But as always, I want you guys to make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your boy's on his way to 2,000 subscribers, so let's definitely build up the community. If you guys want, hop in the Discord. We could talk about JRPGs and any other RPGs all day you want. Stay safe out there. It's been your host, ChaoticTV, here at Chaotic Inc., signing out. Peace.